Good times and cats and kittens. You're listening to Harmonized, the podcast for the working streamer looking to balance work, stream, and everything in between. This week's podcast episode is talking with TripodGG, who has been a hoot to get to know. Do people say that anymore? Do people say it's been a hoot? I feel like I'm aging myself here. He has the unique perspective of being someone who pursued this industry from an entirely different avenue, and now finds himself streaming, and is also a family man. And, getting to hear his journey of where he started versus where he ended up was really cool and interesting. And I think it will give people a very different take and angle to look at. So without further ado, let's do the introduction, shall we? Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your Twitch channel, how you found your way to Twitch, that sort of thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Well, uh, the the way I found my way onto Twitch is actually because I worked in the industry for a number of years. So I worked for a company called Gaming Generations,
Mm-hmm.
which provided uh, all of the equipment necessary for a lot of the esports tournaments. So specifically, we started with Call of Duty and Halo. Uh, Ninja met his wife at my tournament. I played with Ninja back in the day.
Oh,
This
that's
is
really cool.
like 2010, I think. When so he was playing professional Halo, I was playing professional Call of Duty, and I played a little Halo on the side because I love Halo. And so we just had a little fun match or whatever. But that was the tournament that he ended up meeting his wife at. And so I'd kind of started there, and then as broadcast was really starting to kind of take off in the early teens, getting up to 2012, 2013, our focus kind of shifted to the FGC fighting game community,
Mm-hmm.
and so lots of uh, of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Smash Brothers, etc. And those events started as grassroots events and eventually grew to hosting for Evo, hosting for CEO, eventually CEO Taku. There's a tournament called Combo Breaker, which was actually started by Gaming Generations, and all this time we were working with people from Twitch for the broadcasts. We used to house our own broadcasts. There was one guy. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if he necessarily wants his name out there like that, but he was running the stream from our booth. And
Mm-hmm.
then eventually things just got so big we had to start hiring talent out. So we stopped doing the streams and they started. And it was around that time, which would have been about 2014,
Mm-hmm.
2013, when I started talking with my buddy and was like, so tell me about this stream thing that we got going on here. Oh, we're working with Twitch and yada yada, etc. And he kind of explained it to me. And I was, okay, that's kind of cool. So then by 2014, I'm talking like, okay, if we're not going to do this, I wonder what I like. Could I do this? I
Mm-hmm.
wonder, is this something that's possible for me to do? And we we kind of chatted a little more, and he gave me a bunch of links to different resources, and I just kind of explored for a little bit, and I did like a fun little stream here or there, but nothing really serious
Mm-hmm.
until it was a New Year's thing in 2016 where I spent like a solid month really like engulfing a lot of Twitch, as far as like from the broadcaster's perspective. And I went live my first, what I consider my first official uh, full time creation,
Mm-hmm.
February 3rd, 2016. And I've been going strong ever since.
And when you first started doing that's a really crazy intro to that, by the way. That's wicked. I love that you sort of have all of that like back history. Was it Justin TV at the time, or were you only have known it as Twitch?
No, no, it was Justin TV when we first started. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't directly involved back when it was JTV.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then the shift to Twitch TV was kind of when I started getting involved.
Mm-hmm.
So I did have a JTV account And then when they did the switch over, I didn't reclaim the account because it wasn't one of those things that was on my mind.
Yeah.
And so then I just created my new account in 2014 with, the name that I have now.
Hmm. Do you mind if I ask you where the name that you currently have now, like the back history of it, if you don't mind?
I get this a lot, actually.
I mean,
Um,
it's not one you see like every day, you know. Like I, unfortunately, there's pretty much every variation of Kitty on the Twitch site, so
and
it's
and
not
Kitty
something
is
like
not
that.
a rare name by any means, whether you're saying Kitty or Neko or something like that. So
Exactly. So
very common. I understand. Tripod, on the other hand, is a little less common,
right,
and I
like the
so I get
broadcaster in me goes straight to like my video camera iPod, tripod, but that's
yes.
that's me.
So I like to tell people it means whatever you think it means.
Hmm.
I do have an origin story for the name, but I like to let people think whatever they want to think.
Oh, the mystery. Okay. I know the listeners listening right now can't see it, but your avatar, your icon has you holding what looks like a big old camera with a tripod attached. But I will let
Yes.
that mystery uh be as it is. They'll have to come and seek you out if they want the full answer.
Sure. Yeah.
So you had this wicked intro to all of this, and by the way, I also share your love of Halo. And Master Chief is always going to hold a special place in my heart.
Same.
But once you got really into it, you said you did it full time. What did that look like to you? Like, what are we talking? Are we talking 7 days a week, like, or
Oh
five,
God.
or what
No,
what
no,
what were
no.
you doing that made you feel it was a full time thing?
So, actually shouldn't say no. I started out as a live content Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was then spending all of my free time outside of that and work, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, any free time that I had
Mm-hmm.
was spent working on back end things, whether I was working on my artwork, because I, at the time, was like brand new into my career, recently graduated,
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any money to be paying for artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would do everything myself. For the longest time, uh, every single piece of art that you saw on my channel or on a stream was done by me. So I did a lot of that. I was doing a lot of things for my YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
and kind of trying to explore some of the additional avenues and things that I could do. Plus, trying to understand analytics. It wasn't as easy to get your hands on analytics back then as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but but that's where I spent a lot of my time, and that's why I considered it full time. Even though I was only broadcasting for uh, like say 12 hours a week, give
Mm-hmm.
or take, I was still putting in another like 20 hours on the back end.
So give or take, like, if we round up, like 45-ish hours a week,
Uh,
if you put it
yeah,
all
we could
together.
we could probably say that everything would total in that range. That would probably be accurate.
And then how? I know you mentioned your degrees. I don't know if you were in school at the time or if you had finished and were full time working. How many hours were you on top of that doing real life things, whether it be school or work?
Okay. So, um if we were going to an event, there was a couple events that I drove to, depending on where they were.
Mm-hmm.
And so I might work on some stuff on the ride, or on the plane if we were flying there. Uh and work was an easy 40 hours a week.
Oh,
Uh an easy 40.
Just a casual 40 here and there.
So yeah. Um and not that I would ever consider my children work. They're definitely, they were when they were younger. They're certainly, they're self, I mean, my oldest is 17 and a senior in high school right now. So he's at work right now himself, actually. So they can take care of
Self-sufficient at this
themselves.
point.
Exactly. So not so much work anymore. But all these years ago, they've always, all of my children have been very active in athletics, and
Hmm.
so we would be traveling for AAU basketball, or later on into cross country and track and field meets and things. And so we've always had an extremely active family. Plus, when they were younger, they were also doing martial arts under me and a couple of the other instructors. So I was my schedule for a while was 3 nights. I would be like I'd be teaching martial arts, and then I might after that go home and shower and then start stream right away. And the nights I wasn't doing those things, I'd be working on back end things, or I'd be at an event or something. It was kind of hectic, to be completely honest, but I
Yeah,
found a way to balance it all
I was
out.
gonna say it sounds a little like, okay, so where do we eat, sleep, and breathe? And in that,
Well, I
in.
eat while I work. To be honest, I don't sleep much,
Hmm.
which
This
has
is
caught up to me now.
this is a
Uh,
common trend I'm noticing among content creators. We don't like sleep. I don't know what it is about us, but we
oh,
we
I
have an
love sleep.
aversion to sleep.
I love sleep. I just don't get there. We're great friends. We just don't hang out much.
Exactly.
But at things have kind of fallen in different points. So while I was working in the gaming industry, I was in college. And
Mhm.
so if I needed to take a little time away from the office to go do schoolwork, I could do that.
Mhm.
So if I had to go to class, the building was actually a block away from my college. So it just kind of worked out that way. So I could just leave, walk across the parking lot, and go to class, and then come back to work. Um, so
Oh,
I had
that
that
sounds
kind of
nice.
it was kind of a nice advantage. My first college degree was network system administration. So I am a network engineer is my official title,
Mhm.
and system administrator for a slew of various companies around the state of Wisconsin, and various our company does work with the government at the state level, and we have a few different states that we work in.
Mhm.
Um, I'm under a non-disclosure, so I can't really say anything more than that. But
Oop.
just because it's
Mum,
government work,
mum's the word. I get it.
yeah. Um, but before that, it was kind of a balancing act between work and going to school. And then at one point, I decided to get a second degree, and that was as a business analyst, because I'm providing a lot of analyst services for my clients in regards to what makes good business sense when it comes to IT purchasing,
Mhm.
and like how to do a cost benefit analysis for them,
Mhm.
and point them in the right direction. I didn't have those skills when I came out of college the first time. I just knew how to work on servers and that kind of stuff.
Do you find that
So
it gives you a more balanced take on things to have both now?
absolutely, I couldn't speak business before, and now I can. So I kind of became a liaison between the nerds and the business guys. Uh,
You're the middleman.
I wear my nerd badge with pride, but I do understand how to talk to those people. So when I was in college for that, I was still working and streaming too. And so I basically set myself nights. These are the nights for school. I was doing classes all online at that point, so it was easy in that I could do what I needed to do when I had the available time, and I could build my schedule around it. So children have basketball on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Cool. So Mondays and Wednesdays are school nights, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is a stream, and maybe I can sneak something in on Monday too, or something, or a Thursday after basketball or something like that.
Mhm.
And so that's how I did uh, all of that through 2 college degrees.
Did you keep a consistent schedule, or was it more so exactly like you said, like because I know you mentioned you did a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing, or a Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Friday,
Um,
Saturday, Sunday when I started. Then I
yeah.
added Thursdays, eventually added Mondays, eventually added Tuesdays, dropped, added Tuesdays, dropped Tuesdays, eventually dropped Thursdays also. But yes, that was my schedule. So it was a Thursday through Monday with a Tuesday, Wednesday off, kind of picked up Tuesdays for
Mhm.
a little bit, dropped them off almost immediately. Eventually dropped Thursdays because that was my worst night.
Mhm.
But the entire time for the last 5 years now, almost, it's been that's
So
been my schedule.
so that's really really interesting to me to hear that. So despite kids and I think you said you had three.
Yes,
Uh,
3 boys.
So you're father of three. You're working full time. You're also instructing martial arts pre-COVID. You're doing all of
Yes,
that, and you still kept a consistent schedule.
yes.
You are a rare find, my friend. If you don't mind, can I ask you how you made that possible? Was it ever overwhelming at any point? Like, what did you do to kind of keep yourself afloat and happily afloat in all of that?
Uh, no one ever said happy.
Ah.
I'm
Okay.
happy now. I'm
Okay.
happy now. I've absolutely had mental breakdowns.
Mhm.
I would be, and this is not something that's a big secret or anything. I've talked about this on my stream. I've suffered with mental illness my entire life,
Mhm.
um, dating back literally as far back as I can remember, and then some. And so I it's funny. My mods will I have an alarm that goes off on my phone during stream to remind me to take my medication, and my mods will type in chat, meds, have you taken your joy today, from the what was that, we happy few, things like that, to kind
Mhm.
of like, hey, make sure you're taking your stuff. um and they sit right on my desk. I have a just a nice little pill case that holds everything. And so that's how I can kind of maintain a happy face now. But it wasn't always like that.
Mhm.
I had a number of a lot of it was the reason that I had those breakdowns was, as I kind of mentioned to you uh, before we started recording. I'm a firm believer that everything in life is about balance.
Mhm.
This was kind of something that was taught to me within martial arts. I've been training for it's like 31 years now.
Mhm.
Um, and so from a very young age, I was kind of taught about balance. It started as like literal balance, standing on one foot, and eventually was brought into the more theoretical balance. And now as an adult, I kind of feel like if something's out of balance, like something eventually will give if your life isn't in balance. And that's what that was for me was uh things were not in balance because I was too stressed in one area over another, and it would cause eventually, if I didn't swing the balance back the other way, I would have this mental breakdown. And it only happened like twice,
Mhm.
uh but it happened. And so sometimes you have to course correct and things have to fall to the wayside. So I'm not actively teaching martial arts right now, not even virtually.
Mhm.
That's something that fell to the wayside.
Mhm.
Um, I can always come back to it, right? It's not like I'm going to magically lose 31 years of martial arts training. So I'll
Just poof
always have,
out the brain.
I will absolutely maintain that knowledge and can come back to it at any time when my life is maybe a little less hectic.
Mhm.
Um, but sometimes that's what needs to be done. If you have a passion for something and that's where you want to spend your time, something else is going to have to suffer for that, right?
Mhm.
So eventually I had to drop that, or thankfully school wasn't something that lasted forever, so it was a a stressor for the semester, and then,
Mhm.
all right, we're done with that and we have a few weeks off before the next semester. So as long as I could get through those pieces of time and take it in short bursts instead of long strides, it was a little easier to manage.
So it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds almost like instead of letting the breakdowns that you had discourage you from trying to keep it all on your plate, you let them push you forward to balance them better. It's what
Absolutely.
it's what it sounds like. I'm not trying to put words in your
Absolutely.
mouth.
No,
But
no, you're absolutely right. Um, I'm Anybody who knows me will tell you that I'm pretty good about taking criticism, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm of the opinion that if I don't know something is wrong, I can't fix it. So,
Mhm.
you know, tell me, right? Now, there's obviously ways to deliver. Don't come and tell me that I'm the worst person on the planet and I should, you know, do something, whatever, right? Though that's not a proper way to deliver constructive criticism. But if you were to come to me and say, "Hey, I was watching your stream and I saw this thing, and I think that this other thing would be better," right? Even if it's something that's near and dear to me, I can be like, "Okay, I can listen and take what they have to say, and maybe I won't do what they say, but I can at least, absorb that information." Um, and so it's kind of the same when it comes to uh, life stressors. If I treat them uh, more like a lesson on what I'm not doing right,
Mhm.
suddenly it becomes easier to see the things that I could be doing right,
Mhm.
how to change those actions and make the adjustments necessary in order to get the desired outcome, whatever that may be.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's going to be situational.
Do you think that's something more streamers could benefit from? I'm just wondering if because in this situation where we are talking about people who are content creators but also have full-time careers and other things to balance, and families and things like that, it often feels like when they get overwhelmed, or if any of us get overwhelmed, that we sort of beat ourselves down, and I've seen so many people give it up, and then
100%.
try to come back, and then give it up again, and then try to come back. Do you think that that's just a skill that streamers as a whole lack? or,
Yeah,
or
absolutely. No, you're nailing it right there. And I don't think it's an intentional thing. I don't think people are intentionally lacking a skill
Mhm.
of how to balance their lives. And I'm certainly not an expert on how everyone can balance their lives. I found a way that works for me.
Mhm.
Everybody's going to be different, but do do people really struggle with that? Would I agree that that is a common trend among streamers? 100%. Should they try to focus more on finding a balance? Absolutely. The you kind of talked on or touched on the people who will get frustrated and quit, and then they try
Mhm.
to come back
Mhm.
and end up quitting again because they're not getting the desired outcome, and or life's too things are too stressful,
Mhm.
and so they quit platforms. They go, I can tell you how many people got frustrated with their lack of growth on Twitch, so they went to Mixer,
Mhm.
and well, take a wild guess at where they are now. And
An unfortunate turn of events there.
not, RIP, F's in chat for Mixer, but I had friends who streamed on Mixer. Nothing against it. um I remember when it was, what, Beam was what it was called, I
I
think,
believe so.
originally.
Yes.
I remember that. uh So, yeah, nothing against Mixer or anything like that. Like I say, F's in chat for it, but they thought that the platform was the problem, and it wasn't uh, the fact that you could see they were stressed.
Do you think that's, and it's something that I'm starting to see, and it's why I love having these conversations with people on this podcast. Do you think it's a culture problem then? Because I'm noticing that these people that are quitting, and no disrespect to them at all. I'm wondering it's because we have this culture on Twitch right now, or streamer Twitter, or wherever you want to look, where, oh, if you do this, this, and this, you'll succeed. Like, these are the ways to win. This is the way to monetize. You can do it this way. Like, I almost feel like it puts that in your brain, like, oh, I could be successful, and then when it's not immediately successful, there's like a disconnect. And I'm wondering if that's like a cultural thing, or if, because it
It
seems
wouldn't
very
surprise me.
common. It seems very common, that so many people have this problem, and not just like a select few.
It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, and I think it probably goes beyond just streamer Twitter or whatever platform you're on, if it's Facebook gaming or
Mm-hmm.
Twitch or YouTube or whatever. I think
Mm-hmm.
it goes beyond that because look at social media in general.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is the whole purpose of social media now is to show how awesome you are, right? Like you are having the time of your life and everybody else isn't. Like
Yeah.
look at me on the beach, right? You just scroll through Instagram and look at how much fun everybody's having. And so it appears when you look through social media, when you have this thought in your head of I need to do these things to be successful, you're
Mm-hmm.
getting those things from where? Social media. That's where everybody is looking for the success because that's what they can see as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to taking the time to learn how to read their analytics and
Mm-hmm.
interpret the data and or learning uh, improv skills like how to be funny. Like maybe
Mm-hmm.
you're like me and you're not super amazing at every game you play, but you can do funny things that can be entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
uh, or maybe you can't and you need to learn those skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that people just they don't want. I shouldn't say they don't want. They don't know that that the tools to success are different for everybody because everybody is different. Just
Mm-hmm.
because Ninja was good at Halo and Doctor Disrespect was good at, well, just entertaining in general, but was good at Call of Duty and H1Z1, right? Just because they had those skill sets doesn't mean that because I played pro Call of Duty 2, suddenly I can blow up. No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that because that's not my personality. That's their personality, and it worked for them how
Mm-hmm.
they were able to use their skills in order to get them where they are. My skill set falls in a different area, so I have to find my own way to make things work, and I think everybody else does too. So if people if people were to constantly stare at social media and go, what do I need to do to be like that person? Right. Because they're, of
Mm-hmm.
course, comparing themselves to other people. And I'm not going to say I've never done that. Of course I have.
We're all
But,
human.
uh, but maybe the difference is that I look and say, how can I be like that person? And I think of that as more of a constructive thing as opposed to I'm not that person. That's a negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
Use it more as fuel to learn, like, okay, what are they doing that works?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way that I can make this work for me? Is there some type of alternative thing that I can use to make this work for me? A new thing that I can bring to the table that people haven't seen yet. Trying to take advantage of those ideas or random situations that pop up. Um, I'm not sure if you've heard of the game GTFO. It's very well, it's been about a year, just over now.
Mm-hmm.
It's in early access. It will have reached early access 1 year on December 9th. I I really enjoy the game and I see a good strong future with it
Mm-hmm.
eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a point to take advantage of that. It's not a huge category. Not a lot of people play it
Yet.
um, yet, but I've kind of cemented myself as an authority figure of sorts when it comes to the game.
Mm-hmm.
I made a lot of content around it, both on Twitch and on YouTube. Um, and yeah, it hasn't made my channel explode or anything, but you'll find me at the top of the directory every time.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, the game blows up like Dead by Daylight did eventually, right? I'm one of those top creators for that. It's something that might never happen but could.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one example of an opportunity that I saw. Oh, so Angry Pug was playing Dead by Daylight when the game was brand new, and he learned everything he could about it. And now he's one of the top Dead by Daylight streamers on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
I can be that with this thing, you know? That's just one example of how to utilize uh your competitive side of trying to look at other people and think of
Mm-hmm.
it in more of a positive light as opposed to a negative. Uh
It's interesting, and I appreciate that you were uh, open and honest about it earlier. There's all this taboo about talking about your mental health and your struggles and stuff, and um, I think it's interesting that you mentioned that we, on social media portray like, look at how amazing I'm doing, look at how great I'm doing, da 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 da. And I think part of what brings people to that phase of feeling like they can't balance it all, like they can't handle it all, is they look at somebody and they say, well, look at all these people. Nobody else seems to be struggling as much as I am right now. Everybody else seems to
exactly.
be doing fine. So I guess I must be a failure. And that's where the problem lies, because you're not, because everybody is on their own struggle and their own journey, and some days we balance great, and some days we done topple over, and the lady scales is angry.
Mhm.
It's
Absolutely.
a shame to watch people lose such a sense of themselves, and it's why I started this in the first place, to try and find that sense of harmony and balance. And the more and more I listen to people, the more and more I realize nobody really has it. We just have it for us, if that makes sense. Like, for
We have
ourselves.
we have moments of balance.
Yes.
Nobody has perfect balance,
Mm-hmm.
uh, except for maybe a Buddha. But um, but but that's the entire purpose of Buddhism, is to find that
Mm-hmm.
perfect balance. So, uh, but yeah, it's like we have moments of balance, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd be lying if I didn't have a struggle just earlier today when my phone rings yet again from the same person who's called me 4 times earlier about the same problem or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's a lot of things that kind of go into or come into play with balancing your life out. But and to know that it's never going to be a perfect solution every time. What
Mm-hmm.
worked today might not work tomorrow, and you got to be able to uh improvise, adapt, kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? So
So.
that way you can get through your day. I kind of mentioned that before too. Instead
Mm-hmm.
of looking at school, it was like, I'm going to take these 15 weeks and then I get a break. And if I can make it through these 15 weeks and figure out how to do that, then I'm good. And if somebody out there is listening and they're feeling like, oh man, I couldn't do that, just think of it like a day by day. What do I got to get do to get through today?
Mm-hmm.
Make it through the day. Make it to lunch, you know? Figure out what you need to accomplish to make it through to lunch or to dinner or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually you'll start understanding what the skills are for you to get through that, and they grow. Eventually you start doing it for a week or a month or whatever. And if some weird thing like you hit a deer driving home at night and your car's wrecked now, boy, that sucks. Nobody wants to have that happen. But you learn how to roll with it, I guess.
Because sometimes the deer hits you.
Yeah. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
There's uh that's actually a really important thing I kind of try to remind myself, is that I can only control myself. Like
Mm-hmm.
my own actions and my own reactions to situations. I can't control what anybody else does. If somebody hates me and they want to tell me off to my face, I can't stop them. I can't make them not think that way or feel that way or say those horrible mean things. You get trolls in chat all the time. You as a female streamer, I feel so bad for all of the stuff you guys have to deal with. Um, I I watch it all the time as a mod, and so you got to learn to be able to adapt to those things and just let it roll off you. So if you can kind of think of it like that and then roll it into your day to day life, things start to get a little easier.
So it's interesting because you have all of this going on top of being a dad, which I think is my personal bias coming in here. I think that's probably the coolest thing. um is a dad that can play video games. But
I've
if
played with my kids. I've played against my kids. We have a lot of fun. I mean, like obviously they're older now, and so they're
mhm,
they're off like playing Fortnite and NBA 2K and stuff. But you know, uh,
if
they found what they like.
if you had to, because and I can't prove it, but I know it in my jellies, as they say in the Pikachu movie, that there are parents out there who do want to continue to game and do Twitch and keep those hobbies and the things that they love. If you could give advice to people who are currently working, who are currently parents, but who also want to make Twitch a part of their life, what kind of first steps would you give them as a way to sort of keep or start a balance in all things? Because I feel like that can be very overwhelming and daunting and so easy to say, oh, you know what, like there's just not enough time in the day, forget it, I'll never try it.
Yeah, no, that's uh guaranteed. That's said a lot. I had friends who I met through Twitch that are they don't stream anymore because they had a kid and now they have no time.
Mhm.
Or they adopted a kid and now they have no time.
Mhm.
So I know that happens,
Mhm.
uh, but it doesn't have to because uh, I love my children, um, and I love being a dad, and I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't even change the period in time. I was 19 when my first son was born. I wouldn't even change and have it when I was older,
Mhm.
right? Um, I I wouldn't change any of it, but I also remind myself that while I'm a dad, I'm also a my own person,
Mhm.
and I have things that I enjoy. And if I give up everything that I enjoy for my children, it's no I don't feel like it's a sacrificial thing anymore for a good thing.
Mhm.
You know, we of course will give up things for our children, but we don't have to give up our entire lives for them. We can still have our own fun, uh, doing the things that we enjoy. Even if maybe you're a cinephile, you love movies, so
Mhm.
you take 2 hours a week to watch a movie, right? Or if you want to get involved with Twitch, even if it's watching slash maybe eventually modding or something. Um, you can do that. You just got, yeah, I mean, it's going to be different for everybody because everybody's schedules are different. And I'm,
Mhm.
again, the whole balance thing with situational, but regardless of the age of the child, there are points in time during your week where they don't need you. Maybe they want you,
Mhm.
right? It's probably a little harder as a single parent.
Mhm.
That was my mom's deal, was single parent. Um, but your significant other can take the kid for a and watch the baby for 2 hours while you do your thing. And then you can, in exchange for that, get up early in the morning so that they can sleep in or something.
Mhm.
And if it's your only child, well, then they go to bed and then you stream at that time, right? You figure out
Mhm.
what kind of schedule you can have. And even if it's only a couple hours a week, you know. maybe you're not streaming on a couple hours a week, but you can get involved and start to get to know. And as your life evolves and changes, you can reach that point where, all right, I think I'm going to start streaming. I've got more time available to me now.
Mm-hmm.
So I can start streaming. And you'd be surprised how many people will show up to uh, the very first stream of someone who's been a longstanding community member,
Mm-hmm.
someone who's been around the community but never streamed, but has been really become really good friends with everybody. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, I'm going to stream. All of these people show up. So you just kind of figure out what kind of schedule you have and where your free time is. And then if you wanted to be involved with Twitch, or even if you're just playing games with the streamer,
Mm-hmm.
something to be involved, that's that's where you figure out that time.
It's interesting that you bring that up. A, a side tangent, if you will. Do you think that there's, and it's interesting because we're talking about balance and all things, and we're talking about, okay, like your own stream and your own like back end stuff and like work and work responsibilities and all of this, but there's this component of being a part of other people's communities, being in other streams. Do you think that there's this pressure to do that still? I know it was a very big thing a few years back, and then it became no lurkers, and now it's yes lurkers again. It's kind of cyclical. Twitch a little bit, but do you think that there should be room made in your pie chart of all of the things that you're trying to keep a toe in? Should there be room for, okay, I'm going to set this much time aside to watch streams, to, and I really really dislike the word network because it's misused so very often. um but do you think that some of
Don't
that
then don't
balance?
then don't use that word, because
Yeah.
what you're about to describe is not networking. So
I know, but that's the way people use it, and it's not.
I know.
But um, branching out, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
um, so do you think part of your pie should be that, or do you think it's okay to kind of just chug along the
A
way?
little bit of both, I would say.
Yeah.
So here's why.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have, at least for me, I want to have meaningful relationships with people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have made some of the best friends I've ever had on Twitch.
Same.
Um,
Bless.
it's it's sad that so many of them live so far away.
Yes.
Uh,
Also.
I I have a friend that lives in California that I have known since like Halo 1 days.
Mm-hmm.
I met him through the Red versus Blue forums.
I loved Red vs. Blue. I'm sorry, Rooster Teeth is fantastic. I keep going.
Yeah. Uh I I was like a season 1 subscriber. I've been around Red
Yeah.
versus I was there for the original website. I know all
Oh
I
my
go
god. Okay.
back.
Well,
I
we
go
we
way
could
back.
we could
Anyways,
talk about that
yes.
another day.
Yeah. But I met him through the Red versus Blue forums. We started playing when Halo 2 came out. We started playing Halo 2 together
Mhm.
because that finally brought online play, and we didn't have to use the Game Spy tunnel anymore. I've still never met him. He's got a son who's like 12 years old. I remember when his son was born. I'm
Mhm.
friends with his now ex, but I'm still friends with them. They still have a working relationship. I've never met these people, not
Mhm.
once in my life, but I've talked to them on the phone. I've talked to
Yep.
them uh, over Discord, through stream, etc. Actually, he did the voice work for my alerts for
Oh.
on stream. So I found a way to work him into my stream in some way, shape, or form. But like I've made so many wonderful friends that meaningful relationships matter,
Mhm.
and so there has to be a level of of building that relationship if you want people to give a shit about coming to you.
Mhm.
So that being said, don't spend all your free time in other people's streams I'm not one. I could care less if someone comes in my stream and says that they're a streamer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I there's more than enough viewers out there to watch, and if someone's going to leave my stream to go watch that person, I'm doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, but I'm not going to sit and spend uh every waking moment in other people's streams because I'm a streamer too.
Mm-hmm.
I might spend time in people's streams because I like them, because I want to support them. But there's other ways I can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and all of those things will add up over time. There were people that I was watching years ago that never came to my stream, and I see them almost every stream now because you put a little bit of value in building that relationship and showing that support in some way, shape, or form, even if it's not being in their stream,
Mm-hmm.
not subbing. Like, I've never subbed to some of these people. They're subbed to me now, right? Maybe they're gifted subs or something, but they've got a sub badge, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they're showing up enough that even if it's not them paying for the subscription, someone's recognizing it and gifting them. And so you don't have to do it in a monetary way either. There's so many things that you can do to show your support or show that you care, or that you enjoy somebody, and achieve the same goal without having to do that. So, and you can do a lot of it from your phone.
Mm-hmm.
So you're folding laundry and a Discord message pops up. You can quick answer that Discord message and continue doing what you're doing or something, right?
Yeah. I think
I try to
there's
tell everyone my DMs are always open.
mm-hmm.
So you can DM me, and if I can help you, I will.
I think there is, and this is coming from someone who met her fiance on Twitch. Um, I think there's a disconnect though between building a community and truly trying to branch out and establish yourself in other communities in Twitch and having friendships. Because once you hit a point where I'm going to use our mutual friend, Evil, for example, where Evil is my friend. Like you said, like your friend from California. Like I've seen her cute little baby. Um,
I get
you
the
know,
snaps all the time.
yes,
That baby is just
cutest
stupid
baby on
cute.
earth. Um, I don't feel that she's obligated or I'm obligated to visit each other's streams. Like she's still my friend. She could never come to a stream again. She's my friend, you know, and I think there's this
Yeah.
disconnect here between people. And again, it's a very toxic culture when it gets like that. Oh, well, you don't watch my stream, so you don't care about me. And that's a dangerous road to go down. So it becomes its own balancing act in, yes, doing all those things exactly like you said. Like you can answer community member while you're folding laundry, you can pull up a stream while you're doing this, but it's also, you want to walk that line where you don't base your friendships around like the value they bring to your stream. Like there should be a disconnect between your friendships and your community, like a
You
line.
remember that time I said that you can't control other people's actions?
Exactly.
You
Yep.
can't force anybody to show up. You If you want people to be there to support you, you need to give them a reason to. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just because you're my friend, right?
Right.
Avel's my friend, and um, both her and Hawk, right? Like I've gotten to know her
Yeah.
husband as well,
Mm-hmm.
and like they are some seriously wonderful, wonderful people. They could never show up, and it wouldn't change a thing because they're my friends. I don't have expectations. I've said it 100 times. Nobody has to do anything. I don't have expectations of people. You come here because you want to.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be somewhere else, that's fine. You Whatever's making you happy, go for it. If I can be the one to make you happy, that makes me happy. But if I'm not that person and someone else is, I'm happy for you, right? I can't make anybody show up. I can't force it. So I just dropped those expectations. I used to have them. I wanted people to show up, right? I had people on when stream teams were brought into the thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I had people uh that I was on teams with that, back then I was like, well, shouldn't we be supporting our team members? I'm not really understanding that, right? And
Yeah.
I had to drop that mindset because people don't think the same way. Nobody does. Like you said, it's toxic culture. So dropping that mindset of, well, you don't come to my stream, so you don't care, you don't support me, whatever. Um, the sooner you can get away from that, the happier you'll be. The happier you are, the happier you'll be on stream. The happier you are on stream, the more fun you have. The more fun you have, the more people recognize that you're having fun and that this is a fun place to be. And that is a a piece of the puzzle in how to keep people from not wanting to come back.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to get them to come in? Make them have fun. Make yourself memorable in whatever way that might be. I mean, I know there's some people who love the toxicity. I'm not one of them, but if I want people to come back, I got to give them a reason to. About I'm a happy person that encourages other people and doesn't have that, oh, you're a streamer, don't talk about that here. Like, no, you're a streamer, you want help? Like, let me help you. uh I will give you advice. I will teach you the things that I've learned over the years of doing this and my years in industry, and try to help move you in the right direction. And you can take my advice or leave it, but I'm here willing to do that. This is something that I can offer you, right? As just me. So there's my value add.
Mm-hmm.
You want to come around because I have that, right? Not because you're my friend and you should be there, right?
Exactly. So I always wrap up this season rather of the podcast with the same question, and I feel like I could keep talking to you for hours. I did prep myself because we talked about keeping ourselves uh uh in pace here.
I did
Um
warn you.
you did. I was ready. I'm prepared. Sort of. I do want to go off on tangents with you, but I'm being a
We
good
we
host.
and we probably could for a while.
Just on red and blue alone. But um we almost always end the podcast with this question of harmony. Do
Really,
you
really fast. Before you ask the question,
yes.
and I'm gonna go off on that little tangent.
Mhm.
Uh, who's your favorite who's your favorite character from Red versus Blue?
Oh, you can't make me pick.
Oh, I so certainly can, because
Oh.
I have one.
But like, okay, season 1?
And
Uh
let's go with uh 1 through 10, before the Freelancer Chronicle started. So from Blood Gulch and then the meta stuff.
oh, but okay, so Blood Gulch is always going to be my favorite. It's just
Okay, fine. Well, I'll
it's
make it
okay,
easy on you.
it's a
One
tie
through
between
five.
Tucker and Sarge. It's a tie between Tucker and Sarge. It's probably Tucker.
That's awesome that you said that because Tucker did it. Caboose is my favorite. I've
Oh,
always
Caboose.
loved Caboose. Always loved Caboose. I just think that the way the way that his character has been portrayed as this bumbling idiot who just somehow figures things out. I've said it a million times. I think it'd be ironic if everyone was made of iron, which is a line that he says. Um, why are there six pedals instead and only four directions? I use his lines on a very regular basis.
Oh my
I
goodness.
love Caboose. I love Caboose, but Tucker is a good choice.
Oh, thank you. Tex.
Sorry, I just had to
No,
because
it's
it's
okay.
red versus blue, and
It's absolutely fine because Tex is up there for me too, just because
oh
I
god,
find
Texas.
the voice actor for him really really funny. Um, but we we usually wrap up with this idea of harmony, and if you feel like you've really found what works for you, what final, and it seems like you have, which I really appreciate you sharing with us. What final piece of advice would you give people looking to find that harmony in their own lives? Like if you had to say a final piece to on this topic, what would it be to them?
Well, I feel like our topic has really been about balance, and balance does lead to harmony, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
I know it's a hard thing to do to sum it all up in one like sort of succinct way. It's why I
it,
save it for the
it
end.
it is tough. It is absolutely tough. But I mean, it's I think the best thing that I can say, because it's different for everybody, is find your balance, whatever that may be.
Mm-hmm.
Take a minute, sit back, not a literal minute, take a lot of time to figure it out. Don't expect it to happen immediately. Don't expect it to happen overnight. Expect to spend a lot of time. Uh, like, I've been working on it for the past almost 15 years now. Um, take the time to find your balance, figure out what that is, and work towards it. Because as your life comes into balance, you'll start to see things in a different way, and you'll be able to recognize that just because somebody is saying something or doing something doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, even if they're trying to be mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So find your balance, whatever that may be for you.
Thank you so much. I love that. And I have loved our conversation. I think you are a hoot, and I can see why Ava loves you. um, but I do appreciate your insight and your perspective and your honesty in all of this. It's this whole experience has been incredible, and I've learned a little bit from every guest that's come on here. And I will take our conversation with me moving forward, and I hope the people listening do as well. Those of you listening, you can find him at twitch.tv/TripodGG. I have learned to spell it now instead of just saying it. Um, for the one time I didn't. Moving forward, but it has been an absolute pleasure getting to chat with you.
The pleasure has been all of mine.
And if if you find yourself in Tripod Stream, make sure you throw him a caboose line.
You'll be my best friend if you do.
Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you.